Well, this is not the video I thought we would be going out there and making today, but we have ourselves some legal issues that have been brought upon Toronto Maple Leafs captain John Tavares, and it's all published here on an article from the National Post. So, I will leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and read this entire article yourself. I will say it's very wordy. It's got a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo and stuff relating to taxes, so if you're interested in seeing any of this, then hey, articles in the description. This video is going to be made for entertainment purposes because I am obviously not smart enough to go out there and dissect, break down, and give the truth, so to speak, as to what's going on here. So, take a look at this article published on the National Post by Glenn McGregor from earlier this morning. Toronto Maple Leafs captain John Tavares is fighting Canada's tax agency over $8 million that the agency is claiming that he owes them. The dispute over the tax rate on a $15.3 million signing bonus could affect Tavares' future in Toronto and the ability of Canadian professional sports teams to sign top players. And that, obviously, seems like a pretty big deal. And the opening paragraph talks about how Toronto Maple Leafs captain John Tavares is taking the CRA to court in a fight over more than $8 million in taxes and interest the government says that he owes. The dispute is described over here. It's over a signing bonus that Tavares received for joining the Maple Leafs nearly 6 years ago. But the outcome could affect Tavares' future in Toronto and, more broadly, the ability of Canadian professional sports teams to sign pricey top players. Now, if we want to go over and see what they're talking about, let's go over to Cap Friendly and look at John Tavares' current contract. So, right now, Tavares is on a 7-year deal with an AAV of $11 million. The article says that the dispute that's going on between Tavares and the CRA is pretty much revolving around the salary bonus that he got at the beginning of this contract. So, if we see the first year, 2018-19, of course, the AAV is $11 million, but there was a signing bonus that Tavares received in 2018-19 of $15.25 million. Now, I think most of us are familiar with how signing bonuses work in the NHL. They're normally lump sum payments that you get in the summer at the beginning of the year, and the base salary is the amount of money you are paid over the course of the next season. So, Tavares, in this first year of hockey playing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, got $15.25 million up front, and then over the course of the 2018-19 season, he was making a salary of $650,000. Now, these numbers change over the course of the year. You can see that the bonuses and the base salary are not the same every single year. It's normally like that, especially for players that are star players. They want to get their money right in front of them before playing out a season and getting a lower payment throughout the year. It's become a pretty constant pattern that we'll see between NHL athletes over the years. But for John Tavares, it's apparent that that $15 million that he got at the beginning of the contract is the reason he is going to court with the CRA right now. Tavares filed an appeal in the Tax Court of Canada last week through his lawyers seeking to have the CRA's assessment of his 2018 tax return set aside. The appeal claims the CRA incorrectly calculated the taxes he owes on the $15.3 million signing bonus the Leafs paid him after his contract ended with the Islanders in 2018. Tavares argues that the bonus should have been taxed at only 15%, under a provision of a Canada-US taxation treaty which sets the lower tax rate for inducements such as signing bonuses paid to athletes, artists, actors, and musicians. The CRA, though, they're assessing that he must pay a rate of over 38% on the bonus, plus interest, but it has not yet filed a response to the appeal. None of the allegations have been proven in court. Now, where exactly are we going with this? What does this mean? Well, essentially, I think what the main issue is stemming from is the idea that because John Tavares was living in New York, he was drafted by the Islanders, he signed long-term with the Islanders, and it wasn't until 2018 that he left the Islanders to go to Toronto. Because he was living in New York, John Tavares' argument is, hey, that salary that I got, that signing bonus in the summer of 2018, that $15.25 million, I don't need to pay big amounts of taxes on it because of the treaty between Canada and the US, which makes it so that inducements, like signing bonuses, should be set at lower tax rates. But the CRA is saying, nah fam, like, you're paying 38% on that salary bonus, plus interest. And based off of the wording of this, again, I'm not smart enough to really dive deep. I'm no lawyer, attorney, or accountant here. I do my own accounting for my business, but yeah, $15 million is kind of out of my pay range. But there seems to be some sort of a dispute within the language as to residency and how much tax should be applied to this specific payment of $15 million. The argument that says, oh yeah, there's a tax treaty between Canada and the US which allows these kinds of payments to be taxed lower implies that Tavares is attacking this problem from the perspective saying, yeah, no, back in July of 2018, I was still living in New York. I was still in Long Island. I was not here as a Canadian living in Canada yet. Therefore, this Canadian-USA treaty should be upheld, right? But I guess you could say that the moment he signs that pen to the dotted line, he is supposed to be committed to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He is supposed to be living in Canada, technically. The Toronto Maple Leafs are supposed to be his home team. So what gives here? Let's scroll down into the article and read some more comments. Tavares is a marquee player, and there was a great amount of interest by the bidding teams in signing him. His lawyers state in the appeal filing to the tax court, the $15 million signing bonus offered by Toronto was integral to his decision to sign with Toronto, the appeal says. The CRA's reassessment says Tavares' income for 2018 was $17.8 million higher than reported and calculated that he owed an additional $6.8 million in taxes plus $1.2 million in interest on the arrears according to the appeal. So, essentially, the tax machine is going out there and saying that Johnny T owes $8 million in extra taxes to the CRA. Now, I have no doubt that John Tavares is probably in a position where if he wanted to pay that money up, he probably could. I mean, he's on a $77 million contract right now, for crying out loud. But, of course, who wants to go out there and pay $8 million out of nowhere 6 years after whatever it is that he's owed actually came to fruition here? Tavares argues that the bonus was paid into his New York-based bank account in July 2018 and that he spent only 45 days in Canada between September and December of that year once he began playing with the Leafs. Okay, so there's exactly what I was talking about. How John Tavares, at that time, was still in New York, and it was in a New York bank account that the money was put in. The signing bonus was consideration for Tavares, a uniquely skilled and sought-after unrestricted free agent committing to the 7-year contract with the Maple Leafs, the appeal said, claiming it was not salary, not wages, or any other remuneration in respect of employment. The $17.8 million payment in the CRA's sites represents only the 2018 portion of Tavares' entire signing bonus, which totals $70 million over the term of his contract. Tavares' appeal argues that his bonus is different from salary because it would still be paid to him if he were traded, sent to the minors, or injured, and it should not be considered normal income for tax purposes. As such, he argues the 2018 portion of the bonus should be taxed at only the 15% U.S. inducement rate. That is very well explained. I'm gonna give some props to the writer over here, Glenn McGregor, for writing it out in this way, but at the end of the day, this still is a legal battle that John Tavares has found himself swamped within, because now, all of a sudden, we're talking about taxes on the YouTube channel and the amount of money that hockey players end up making. I mean, this article does do a little bit of fear-mongering, saying, oh, like, because the government is the way it is, because of the money, like, this is how it could affect the potential of big-name free agents coming to Canada, but, like, I think that's a little bit extra at this point. Right now, we're just talking mostly about Tavares, because this legal battle seems to involve mostly two different perspectives between Tavares and the CRA, claiming that whatever money he got as a signing bonus in 2018 was either a salary or a bonus. But the thing is, within the NHL's rulebooks, signing bonuses do count towards salary, and they do play a part into how much a player's AAV really is. So, you know, I don't think it's too cut and dry here. I do think the CRA has a point in labeling whatever money it is as a salary, but at the same time, if these rules and treaties between Canada and the US do exist for this purpose, then hey, I guess John Tavares has the right to go out there and use them as his defense, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this very odd video, talking about taxes, talking about Johnny T, talking about the Maple Leafs. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if there are any, like, lawyers or accountants that are in the comment section, then hey, feel free to correct me where I'm wrong. I'm just reading an article and giving my own thoughts about it from the perspective of somebody who owns a small business here in Canada. It's not $15 million that we're dealing with here, but yeah, maybe somebody else has more experience talking about this kind of stuff. And bye.